After the stabbings of 11 people by a large black man with a machete, I wanted to address this directly to the government and its communication team, such piteous people as they are. Firstly, you don't get to use the word British national when you feel like it.
Katie Hopkins just dropped a political bomb, and whether you agree with her or not, she's saying what millions are thinking. She accuses the government of betraying its duty to protect its own people, claiming Britain's borders are weak, crime is rising, and the state has lost control. Her anger isn't just noise, it's the voice of a public that's fed up with excuses and scared for the country's future. This isn't just another rant, it's a warning. Britain's trust in its leaders is cracking. Stay tuned because this debate is about to get explosive.
If you fail to defend a country's borders, if you flood a country with millions of people with a culture utterly foreign to our own, and you don't demand that they assimilate, if you have over 2 million people in my country who don't speak a word of English, but you somehow elevate them, and if you batter down and punish decent British people by throwing them in prison for non-crimes, you don't get to use the term British national when it suits you, and you don't get to leverage it to try and calm the little people. Second point that I wanted to make, you are giving the mainstream media talking points like talk up the hero, talk up the hero. It is so bloody obvious and patronising as to be insulting. You can talk up the hero all you want, a white guy doing his very best. This was a black man with a machete who should have been stopped much earlier in the day, but probably wasn't stopped by your police because they were out policing tweets from normal British people who you then try and throw in prison for hate crimes like, calling myself a spaz. This is about transparency. I remember another hero. He was called Roy Lana, the Lion of London Bridge. He went at 3 Islamists with machetes, and yet he was never given the George Cross because he was the wrong type of hero. So don't try leveraging the whole hero debate right now. And finally, the first and primary job of a government is to protect its own people. In America, they have a constitution, the right to life, the right to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. British people are nowhere near enjoying the pursuit of happiness or enjoying their liberties because those liberties are being taken away on a daily basis, and they're too worried about their own survival, or more importantly, the survival of our children and our grandchildren. As a government, you have failed comprehensively and in full.
Katie Hopkins's latest commentary struck Westminster like a political lightning bolt, sharp, unfiltered, and aimed directly at the uneasy core of Britain's governing class. In her unmistakably combative style, Hopkins accuses the government of abandoning its most fundamental duty, the protection of its citizens. She frames this not as a partisan failure, but as a systemic collapse of state responsibility. Whether one agrees with her tone or not, the deeper question she raises cannot be dismissed. Her outrage reflects a growing public sentiment, a sense that those in power have lost control, and worse, lost credibility. At the heart of her argument lies a blunt charge that Britain's state apparatus has failed to secure its borders, uphold its laws, and protect ordinary people from crime. It's a claim that cuts to the very foundation of government legitimacy. When citizens no longer feel safe in their own streets, trust in political institutions begins to erode. Hopkins's anger, in that sense, is not an isolated outburst. It's the echo of a national anxiety. Communities across the UK are facing the real pressures of stretched policing, chaotic asylum management, and public services under strain. Meanwhile, official responses full of inquiries, reports, and press statements often ring hollow to those living with the consequences. Her critique, however, walks a fine line. There's a difference between holding leaders accountable and demonising entire groups. Hopkins's moral argument that the state has sacrificed public safety in the name of abstract ideals exposes a real tension at the heart of modern governance. Yet when anger turns to accusation without evidence, the debate risks tipping from accountability into incitement. That's the danger of our current moment. as mainstream outlets lose public trust, alternative voices fill the vacuum. Some do so responsibly, others feed polarization, amplifying outrage instead of reason. The result is a toxic mix. Citizens who feel unprotected, a government that struggles to communicate honestly, and a media landscape that thrives on division. So where does Britain go from here? Serious solutions, not slogans, are needed. Border systems must be made faster and more secure. Local policing needs rebuilding, with officers present in the communities they serve. Sentencing and deportation frameworks require clarity and consistency firm, but just. Transparency is equally vital. The public deserves facts, not talking points, clear information on migration, public safety, and how government decisions affect real lives. And above all, leaders must speak with honesty, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Because Hopkins's fury and the public frustration behind it will not fade until people see tangible accountability. The challenge now is to turn anger into reform, not chaos. If Britain can combine government accountability with civic responsibility, it can restore faith in its institutions. Fail to do that, and the warning Hopkins delivers may prove not prophetic, but inevitable.